What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your stimulus package update and daily news report for Monday, January 24th. So today we actually have some major news. We're going to talk about how stimulus could likely be paused for a short time. I'm going to go over the news regarding the Ukraine and Russian border. We're going to talk about what the White House is doing, address trucker protests in Canada that is likely going to slow down our supply chain even more here in the US, and I got some COVID news as well. So a lot of stuff going on. Let's break down what is happening first. So today, this is the first day that we in the US can actually file our 2021 federal tax returns. So according to experts, they say make sure you do this soon, as you do not want to be stuck in processing. This means that you can also claim your $1,400 stimulus checks if you didn't get that money previously. You can also get the rest of your child tax credit payments. That means parents that received the 6-month payments of $250 to $300 per month, you can get the rest of it. You can get the other $1,500 or $1,800. That's really good news there. Also, I just want to reiterate that you can also deduct your personal protective equipment, PPE. This means masks, face masks or shields, okay, COVID tests. You can deduct these. These are tax deductible. So make sure you go and do that. Make sure you go file your tax return early. Do it today if you can. If not, just warning you guys, the IRS is already backlogged by millions of returns from 2020. I don't want the same thing to happen to you that happened last year, where many people were stuck waiting 3 months, even 6 months. Some people are still waiting for their tax return to be processed. So it's not great news, but that is currently where we're at. Now, let's address the stimulus negotiations. Here's what we know. The stimulus negotiations will be ongoing. We know that. We know the White House and Senator Joe Manchin, they're going to talk together, they're going to speak privately, and they're going to be very direct. That's what we know. Here's the problem. Right now, the Biden administration is weighing sending about 5,000 troops to the Eastern Europe border, pretty much Eastern Europe, in order to counter Russia's potential invasion of Ukraine. Okay? So the reason why stimulus negotiations are likely going to be paused is because the White House will be looking into that. They will not be 100% focused on passing the Build Back Better Act or renegotiating with that. It's going to be the tensions between Ukraine and Russia. That's going to be the big issue, and that's what the big news has been this morning. Russia has been moving military and equipment over the past week, and things have really started to intensify over there in Ukraine. The US and the UK, they've also started pulling the embassy staff and family members from the country as well. That's both the US and UK. Okay, President Biden, he even last week told Russian President Vladimir Putin that the country's invasion into Ukraine would cause the US to send more troops to the region. Obviously, this is not what President Putin wanted to hear, but that was what happened. So currently, there is an estimate that says Russia has more than 100,000 military personnel near the Ukraine border. So things are very interesting as to what's going to happen over there. But this is what's causing issues right now with the White House. Is the White House, they had other things planned. They had other things going on. But according to reports, this is going to take precedence. This is going to be the priority moving forward. So we're going to see what happens there. But regarding stimulus, regarding the next Build Back Better Act, regarding negotiations with Senator Joe Manchin or other senators, it is likely going to be slow moving over the next few days. My expectation is the White House is going to pull themselves out of the negotiations, and it's going to be just between the Senate. The Senate is going to have to work something out and then get that to work with the House of Representatives. If this happens, I don't know how close we get to the Build Back Better Act, but we would have something done. the likely one piece that would be there is going to be on climate. Everything else is really up in the air. But as soon as we know more, I promise I will fill you on those updates as soon as we get them. Now, the other day I mentioned how the US had a vaccine mandate for Canadian and Mexican truckers. Now, this was likely going to cause delays in products, most likely is going to hurt the supply chain even more. However, I didn't mention one thing. I forgot to mention one thing. This has to do with Canada. Now, the reason I bring this up today is because there are truckers protesting the mandate that was put in place in Canada. And this was actually put in place on January 15th, so almost 10 days ago. But in Canada, here's what you need to understand. The US now has a mandate that any trucker coming from Canada or coming from Mexico has to be vaccinated. Okay? Now, that was already an issue. Canada, on the other hand, they have something in place that any Canadian citizen that goes into the United States, the problem is they would have to be, as of right now, they would have to be tested. You gotta have a COVID test upon re-entry, and you have to quarantine. This also impacts U.S. truckers going into Canada. This is why things are going to go very slow. This is why truckers are protesting today. They want this removed. So the protest is expected to run from today until January 29th. I believe that's this Saturday or Sunday. But the reason for this is because truckers are going to be marching from Vancouver to Ottawa. Now, this is likely going to cause about 20% of the 160,000 truckers to be pulled off the roads or at least heavily impacted because of this one move. Now, I bring this up because truckers can come down to the border, drop off a load, and it could be picked up by another trucker here in the US and taken into the US. But the problem is it takes time. There would be just a bunch of different trailers sitting at the border waiting for somebody to pick them up. So that's going to be the issues. We could see just floods of trailers just sitting, waiting for somebody to come and pick them up. But guess what? This also is ripe for theft, right? There's so many issues with this, but that's one of the problems, and that's why some experts say that our supply chain, both in the US and in Canada, could be heavily impacted. So we will see what happens there. I do want to address the stock market for a moment. Now, I want to address this because this morning I was expecting the stock market was going to be green. Things are going to be looking really, really good. And if you didn't watch my video last week, I addressed how I sold a large amount of my stocks, large amount of my portfolio. Not everything, but a large amount. Now, this is not something that I normally do, but I saw the writing on the wall. Okay, I knew we were going to see huge declines coming very soon. I was not expecting that to happen today. What I was expecting was we were going to see earnings this week, and earnings were not going to be great. I'll address that in a minute. I knew we were going to see the Federal Reserve's minutes released this week on Wednesday, and I wasn't expecting anything great. We also have CPI reports. We got 2 of them coming out between now and the March 16th Federal Reserve minutes. And that's going to be the big catalyst, whether we see stocks go up or down. My expectation is until March, we're going to see likely stocks will just keep falling down. They may somewhat rally, but eventually they'll keep coming down. So here's my plan. I addressed this last week. I still plan on day trading. I will be day trading for the next couple of months. And in the meantime, though, I'm trying to establish a bottom. I'm trying to figure out where the bottom is on some of my highest conviction plays. Okay? That's my goal. Is I don't want to own, stocks and shares in companies that I don't have a high conviction for. I don't think they're going to be around for the next 5 to 10 years. And once I establish this bottom, and this could take days or weeks, but once we establish this bottom, it could take months, who knows? But once we establish this bottom, then I'm going to buy back in at much lower prices than when I sold just last week. But here's one of the things I want to address. Because I got a lot of people saying, yeah, you're not going to be able to time the market. Nobody can time the market. Here's the thing. I'm not trying to time the market perfectly. But if I can time it a little bit better. So let's say, end phase. End phase was what, $135 last week. I believe now it's like 118, 120 last time I checked. So it's already down $15 at least. So if I sold end phase at 135, and I think I sold it a little bit higher than that, but I didn't sell all of it, but if let's say I sold end phase at 135, dropped down to 120, let's say it goes down to $80, but yet I don't time it perfectly and buy it at $80. I buy it at like 95 or 100. I'd be fine with that because I sold at 135. So I had $35 in savings. Yes, I may have overpaid by $15 or $20. That's fine because I'm not trying to perfectly time the market. I just want to get out, which I already did, in a decent amount of time before we saw a massive correction in the market, which it's already showing, and then I'll buy back in. Now I could be wrong. I might miss some things, but my plan is, and I watch stocks on a daily basis. I'm always looking at the charts. So for me, it makes sense. I'm a trader. Okay? I trade. That's what I do. And I take some of the money that I make from trades and I put it into long-term holds. Okay? I go long on certain stocks. So that's my plan. Okay? So here's what I just want to address right now. I keep getting a bunch of alerts on my phone for different stocks, but even though I keep looking, I'm not buying right now. So even though we have a lot of earnings reports coming out this week, I still feel that good earnings will likely cause institutions to, the price will go up for these companies, but institutions will then dump the stocks on the rally. Okay? We're going to see the algorithms kick in. We're going to see it. We're going to see the traders come in. Okay, yeah, we saw good earnings. Everything's going up. Retail traders are jumping in. All of a sudden, the institutions sell. And then the retail traders are stuck holding the bag on a stock that is now worth less than what they just paid for. Now, even good earnings, we're going to see a likely drop. Bad earnings, yes, we're going to see a drop. So right now, nothing going forward is really going to push prices up in my eyes. But as soon as I can get back into the markets heavily, I will do so. Then, and I promise I will keep you updated on the moves that I do make along the way. But just understand, this is just my philosophy moving forward. I've traded in a market like this before, similar to this. I've been trading since 2006. So that was kind of the peak of the markets back then, and then we got the financial and real estate bubble and crisis. So I have been in this situation before, and what I can tell you moving into this is have some money on the sidelines. Don't have it all on the sidelines, but have a decent amount of money on the sidelines so that when we see peak fear and when the markets are really crashing, that's when you buy in. If you can buy in when everyone's selling, guess what happens? As the market rebounds and everybody starts buying, guess what? You can either hold or you can sell and make a great profit. So that's my plan. That's what I'm doing. But again, you do you. You have your own plan and stick with it. So let's get some COVID news for today. According to the head of the World Health Organization, he said this morning, and I quote, "It's dangerous to assume that Omicron will be the last variant and that we are in the end game." He says, on the contrary, globally the conditions are ideal for more variants to emerge. That's the issue. That's the issue that not just health experts are saying, but what we are seeing is that right now, if an additional COVID variant were to emerge, what do we do? That's the question, and nobody has an answer. So here's what I can tell you. Right now, there's a lot of people speculating that we are potentially at the end of this pandemic. But according to some, that's not the case. The pandemic is going to change. Okay, and as it changes, we have to learn to adapt and evolve with it. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how close we're going to get to the end of this pandemic. But as always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all latest news and updates. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.